Okay, first thing that you want to know when you're pulling cable is how to read a plan. If you don't know what you're putting in the ground, you're not going to be able to put it in the ground. The plan has a few things that you want to look for. These are your primary callouts. When I say primary callouts, these are your cables that will connect, your pull boxes to your transformers and your other equipment such as PMEs and switches and so on and so forth. This is what's known as a single line diagram. This shows you all your mainline cable. So for instance, we know this is showing existing right here. So this is going to be what's called our source, in addition to the number of that structure. So if we look at this is what we're going to be installing right here. Your pull box is going to feed up to this new pull box, which in turn is going to feed into this transformer, this transformer, this transformer, this transformer. These are all marked with different structure numbers. This pull box here will feed this transformer, which will daisy chain to this one, and it'll end on this transformer. In addition to that, a single line will show you this is a 75 kVA transformer that's going to be installed in this spot. 16 kV tells me that I've got two phases here, A and B, which gives us our 16 kV. Moving back to this plan, so now we know that this call out right here, let me go back to the source here. So we know that my source down here, this existing pull box right in this area right here, is going to feed up into this pull box. So there's going to be a cable call out in between these two structures right here. And here it is, 183 feet, 2-1-aught, so that's 2 conductor 1-aught, jacketed concentric neutral, 16 kV, and we're going with A and B phase. So looking at this portion of the print, we're going to start with the existing structure. This is the structure number right here. We know that it's a pull box. This gives us all the information. This is where it all starts. From here, you can see that we're coming around. If we follow this line, we're going to be pulling it to this other pull box right here. And then if you follow what's pointing at that, this is the description of that new pull box that we're installing. We know, based off of the single line, if we start at the existing structure to the new structure, and this gives us all the information on what we're pulling. It'll give us the footage at 183 feet. It'll give us 2 conductor 1-aught. That's the type of primary cable that we're pulling, JCN, and this will show you the phase marking. So we're going to mark this A and B. You're going to have, let me see if, so this pull box right here has 3 junction bars in it, A, B, and C. When we're pulling off a single phase system with 16 kV, we're going to use 2 of those conductors, and it could be AB, it could be BC, could be AC, could be any one of those different configurations. But we know from this we're going to be AB phase on the primary. From this pull box, we're going to come up here, and we know that that's going to feed to another transformer. So here's my transformer right here, feeding from that new pull box. There's going to be a call out right over here somewhere, 207 feet. And we know that this is the call out because we've got pad 400 to splice box 399. This is our pad 400 right here, and that's feeding from this pull box right here at 207 feet, 2 conductor, AB phase. that. If you look at this, this will also show us under the pad description, the transformer is going to be a dead end. That's what that DE stands for, dead end transformer, which means that's going to be the end of the line for this, which we know when we look at the single line, that is correct, because the single line shows us pad 400 as a dead end transformer, doesn't go anywhere from there. And then if we go back to that description of the transformer pad, we know that this is the transformer number. We know that this is the description right here of the transformer. 75 kVA, 16 kV. What this is also going to tell us is that you had 207 feet of primary cable coming to that transformer, and it's also going to tell us that we have 344 feet of secondary cable. So secondary is going to be what feeds out of the transformer to the secondary handholds that's in turn going to feed into the service panels. We know we have 344 feet of secondary cable, and we also know that this transformer is going to feed 3 handholds. And this is a brief description of the handholds. It's a 1730-18. So there's 3 handholds coming off of this transformer. If we look down here, you can see this is the transformer. This is the handhole number 1. We've got handhole number 2, and we've got handhole number 3. How do we know that these are the handholds coming off of that transformer? If you look at the description next to the handhole, it'll show you this number right here, 400C. Now we know that this transformer is transformer 400. So if we go back down here, we've got handhole 400A, we've got handhole 400B, and we've got handhole 400C. That's our 3 handholds. So we're going to be pulling cable. We know that it's 350 cable to all 3 of these handholds. In Southern California Edison Systems, they are primarily pulling 350 secondary from the transformer to the handhole and handhole to handhole. They've gotten away from the 4-aught, 1-aught, anything like that. That being said, you should always check and verify. So when you look at this transformer, we know that we got the 3 handholds. Those cable callouts, so we're going to be pulling cable from here to this handhole right here, and this is the callout right here. 88 feet, 350 single phase. That's the pad number, P0400, to handhole 400B. 400B, and then transformer 400. And then if you look up here, same thing.
Let me stop here.
Transformer to handhole. Handhole A, we're going transformer 400 to handhole 400A, 105 feet. That's your cable call out. So we're pulling from here to here. In addition to that, if we take a look at the service cable pulls, every lot with a house on it is going to have the information of what we're pulling right here. We've got 1-aught cable, single phase 1-aught. We've got 70 feet. This cable call out shows it as a future, which means it's not going in on this mainline work order. If you've got model lots, sometimes they will include them on what's called a Rule 15. This mainline pole is considered a Rule 15 in Southern California Edison. The services are what's known as a Rule 16. And when it shows future, that's going to go in on a future Rule 16 work order. We know that we've got 26 feet of 1/0. And if you look at the arrow here, it's coming from the transformer. If you look at this service right here, 70 feet, and it's coming from the transformer. Look over here, this handhole is going to feed 2 services, one here at 32 feet and one here at 28 feet, both 1/0 cables. So when we come in to originally pull what's called the Rule 15, the mainline work order, we are only going to be pulling your primary cable, which is from your existing source, to all your pull boxes, to the transformers, and all the secondary cable, which is what we just went over with the 350. That's all going to be done on the Rule 15 work order. When we come back in the future for Rule 16 work orders, where they got 6 services usually at a time, you'll be pulling, say this is one set of services. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll say this. So you're going to be pulling that, this service, and this service. This is an illustration of a typical handhole. This is like a 1730, 18. When you pull the cable in, if your ducts are sitting on this side of the handhole, you're going to want to pull your cable up and over to this end of the handhole, and then you're going to make a cut just outside of that handhole on all the cables. If you've got another duct over here, pull the cable up, you're going to want it over here.
When these are all made up, we want them to fold over and sit nicely at the end of the handhole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutters here, and now if I didn't test this, one thing that you want to do always is make sure you're cutting one at a time. And the reason for that is that, again, if there's anything on the line, you don't want to connect both of those at the same time.
When you're on the transformer side and you're pulling cable up to the transformer, you want to pull about 4 feet off of the top of the pad. So if this is your transformer in here and your secondary ducts, or you're going to have a handhole sitting in here, your secondary ducts are going to be located on this side of the transformer. If this is the front, you want to pull this up, and from this point right here, you want to pull 4 feet, roughly about 48 inches. Before the cable's cut. So if you're feeding into the transformer to a handhole over here, and you're feeding into the transformer and pulling it out of the handhole, you're going to wait until this cable is pulled up, measured perfectly, cut, and then this side you're going to leave 48 inches off of the top of the pad, and then cut right there at 48 inches. If you're going the other direction, you're going to pull it in, pull it roughly 48 inches above the pad, and then again, you're going to cut it at the other end of the handhole from the duck side. Now, just to reiterate, when you're pulling up on this side or feeding in on this side, you want to cut the cable to the opposite side of the handhole from where the duck sits. If you're unsure about where to cut the cable, or if you're just starting, you definitely want to get your supervisor's thoughts on where to cut the cable before you cut. If this is cut too short, then the cable needs to come out and we'll have to re-pull the cable at the expense of time and money. So make sure you know where you're cutting it before you cut it. Okay, so this is a basic diagram. What I've drawn here is, I'm going to call this a pull box, maybe a 3x5 pull box. This is going to be, we'll call this a source. It's existing, it's already energized. What we're going to do is we're going to pull from this primary source. It's going to come over here and it's going to go feed up into the transformer. When you're pulling the cable, what you want to do is you want to pull it up out of the pad about 48 inches above the pad. That gives you enough room to play with the cable, get it laid in once we're doing the splicing and stuff like that, because this is going to come over here and it's going to land on a bushing over here. From there, it's also going to exit. You'll have two cables coming in here and then two more going out. From transformer, it's going to go all the way into the next transformer. And again, this is going to come up 48 inches, approximately where you're going to cut it, about chest height. That'll give you enough room to lay it over and make your cuts. Your secondary side, which is going to be your transformer, is going to feed all these handholds in between. You're going to pull it in here. It's going to come up into the handhole. Your duct being on one side. You're going to pull the cable up and you're going to cut it just outside of the rim of the handhole. Once this cable is cut here, you're going to make sure that this comes up, about 48 inches up here. That'll give you enough room when the transformer gets set to lay the cable over, make your splices, and connect it all up. This right here kind of shows this transformer is going to feed one handhole here. This transformer over here is going to come, I'm going to feed it in here. We're going to come up into this handhole. Again, we're going to pull it, lay it over, cut it to the edge of the handhole, and then this other secondary cable, when we feed in, it's going to daisy chain into this handhole. Same thing, you're going to pull it up, arch it over, and cut it to the other side of the handhole. This also you want 48 inches above where you're going to cut it. If you ever have any questions about where to cut it, you want to get with your foreman and make sure that you're not cutting it too short. Cable that's cut too short has to come out and then we have to re-pull it, all because it's a few inches short. This sometimes, instead of daisy chaining from handhole to handhole, it'll come from the transformer directly, bypass the first handhole into the second handhole. Those are just different ways that it could be set up. Again, looking at the top of the handhole, if your ducts are in here, if you're looking straight down at the handhole, you want your cable to come out, make a nice little loop. This is the side of the handhole, and your ducts are here. Gonna make a nice little loop, cut it to the end of the handhole. Transformer pad, once again, approximately 42 to 48 inches above the top of the pad. that's where you're going to want to cut it.